Hey, you listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM and ArrowFM. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we got Josh.
Hey.
A lot to talk about on Raw this week, so we're going to try and get through it all. We're going to talk about the Shield, start to finish. They start off the night, mixing and matching with their opponents for Super Showdown. That is Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre. End up getting arrested.
So many times that this has been used. You always know when it happens at the beginning of the show.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to be there the entire night. They're always going to come back.
Honestly, it's like if you get arrested at the start of the night, the cops just know to process you really, really quickly. Because it was like, less than 3 hours, and they'd driven there, been processed, posted bail, stole a cop car? Unsure. Drove back, and we're in the arena again.
Yeah. That's the biggest lapse of judgment is that the fact that they were driving the same paddy-wagon in which they were driven out in.
They have to have jacked it, right? I don't see any other way that this works. The canon is that they posted bail. So did they post bail and then jack the paddy wagon?
They probably just bought it. I mean, they all make tons of money.
It's like, I want your paddy wagon. What? I'm buying it. Throw money at them and drive off. Yeah. It was Labor Day as well, wasn't it? It was a public holiday, so the odds of them getting processed, but whatever. It's wrestling. While the Shield were gone and they couldn't interrupt it, Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre went on a bit of a tear. They took out the Revival.
Yeah. I was really hoping that during that tag team title match that the Revival would come out to interrupt the match to save their number one contendership match that they'd earned as revenge for being taken out by them. Because I thought that the Shield coming out to stop it would be too predictable.
Mm-hmm. Well, what was the least predictable option? Nobody coming out to stop it.
And the end of the B team.
Well, the end of the B team's reign. They were a thing before the championships. They can be a thing afterwards. Maybe.
Well, let's say the end of the relevancy.
Yep. They're about to fall down that card as fast as you can snap your fingers. And you brought up a good point when we were discussing this in the chat as the show was going on. I didn't know whether to be happy or sad, because I really wanted to be happy that Drew McIntyre is holding a championship. But he's still tied to still tied to Dolph. It seems as though Braun, Ziggler, and McIntyre are arguably the top three, just de facto.
Yeah, and here's a heads up is what we're probably going to be seeing after the Super Show.
Mm-hmm.
We're probably going to be seeing Ambrose and Rollins versus Ziggler and McIntyre for the titles.
Yep.
Largely because there's a local house show at the end of October that's advertising the main event being Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre and
Dolph Ziggler,
Dolph Ziggler. But this was before the titles were won, so that was just the main event.
Mm-hmm.
Now, updated will probably be updated to being a tag team title match.
That match at Super Showdown, it's got one of the longest 6-man tag introductions. Because it's a 6-man tag team match between the Universal Champion Roman Reigns, the Intercontinental Champion Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose taking on Braun Strowman and the Raw Tag Team Champions Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. That's every male belt on Raw, assuming all of them are still champion heading into that 6-man tag.
Yeah. All the titles are wrapped up in one big feud.
Usually that isn't a good thing.
I was actually thinking, how could we fix Raw's tag team division?
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a very simple way to do it.
What you got?
Take people from the cruiserweights and put them in together as tag team. Put them in on Raw and have them added to the tag team division.
Okay.
Boom. Problem solved. You have more depth.
Good luck.
Because you could have Gallagher and and Kendrick, who are
Mhm.
already a tag team. You have Lucha Party. You have
Yeah, I assume there's a couple more duos.
yeah, and you put Mustafa and Alexander together,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'd have some reason for them to be on Raw, and you have more bodies for the division, so that we may care about the division.
I'm pretty sure a while ago there were rumors of a cruiserweight tag team belt that would put them in their own little division, just to give us a third tag team division that can't be booked properly. I feel like the belts would just sit on Lucha House Party forever. So Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler, they got the Raw Tag Team Championships, but the night is not over for this feud. Main event time, Braun Strowman defeats Finn Balor. The match itself first.
Finn got a lot of offense in for a match you knew he was not going to win.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately, Finn does what he does best, loses in the main event.
Oh, sorry, Finn. Real sorry. But the after-match shenanigans, this is where all the discussion is. The Shield, obviously, as we said, returns. It makes sense. And then just get the ever-loving poop beat out of them.
By every heel on the roster, Andrew Gulak.
They had Andrew Gulak. My headcanon for this is that they were like, heels line up and go for the segment. And then Drew was just like sitting in catering, whipped off his shirt and just sprinted down there and was like, I'm taking part in this. That's my headcanon. It makes no sense that Drew just joins this group at all.
Yeah, hey, you got to be part of a Raw main event.
It will be the first and probably the last time. Unless things seriously change. But yeah, the Shield. Generally, when we saw the Shield, especially all together as the trio, they were always pretty much standing tall. So it's fairly decent imagery to see them laying on their backs with everybody just looking down on them.
Yeah, but they were never, ever... They never had an entire roster to deal with at once.
Yeah.
They were always... The numbers were always in their advantage when they were the dominant force that they were.
Mm-hmm. It's like the heels were just sitting back there and they're like, we know what you're trying to do. We've seen you do this 1,000,000 times. We're going to stop you. So that was 10 minutes worth of the main event feud, but she's a big one and she's got a lot of championship gold in her. So now, I don't even know where to go. I'm going to jump into the middle of the card. The Authors of Pain, they have a new manager.
Yeah, the 205 Live general manager.
I have no further comment on this matter.
Well, I'll give them this. It's an interesting pairing. And I'm kind of interested in seeing where they go with it. But I think the most fun thing was just the memes that come out of Drake Maverick wearing the Authors of Pain outfit. It's like the little brother. It's like you have mama saying that the little brother they have to bring their little brother along, and he just dresses as them.
Yep. It's I do wonder what the Authors of Pain future is, at least in the gear wise, in that their gear is very similar to the Shield's gear. Painfully obvious when it's on Maverick.
Yeah. But I think the thing that lets them stand out a little more is that they have additional stuff like with the head stuff and gear and stuff that the Shield doesn't use anymore.
Yeah. I feel like it could get a little rough, but we should be fine. I don't foresee any issues, but we should be good.
Yeah, hopefully we're done with the visa issues too.
Please, just please. Like, I will cross my fingers for that. Visas just suck, honestly, but that is a whole nother political discussion for a completely different show. The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, we gonna see a third one?
No.
Oh. You're dashing everybody's hopes.
Well, then they deserve to be. Because I want HBK to be the one guy that retires and stays gone.
That's literally what his whole promo was, yeah.
Because I want him to be that guy. I don't want him to be Ric Flair. I don't want him to be The Undertaker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want him to just be done. Yeah, I'd love to see him wrestle. I'm sure he could still work a good match. Probably not a great one, but still probably could work a good one.
Mm.
But I don't want to see it. I don't want to ruin that moment.
Mm-hmm.
The way Ric Flair's send-off was ruined.
Yep.
The way The Undertaker's walking out at WrestleMania was ruined.
Yeah, I get you, and I'm very much on that side. I was being devil's advocate for the internet there. I have to do that quite often on the show to mention talking points. I agree that all three people you just listed should be retired and stay retired. I don't need to see.
Flair is only retired right now because he's been told he physically can't do it.
He's too busy rapping to wrestle now. He's hanging out with all the other rappers, Waka Flocka and the lot. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's up with The Undertaker. I don't want to know what's up. He's going to have a match with Triple H. Whatever. The Undertaker, to me, does not have the mystique, or I know to the general public he still has the pulling power. To me, he does not. The luster is gone. There was, at WrestleMania, like his last 3 or 4, you can excuse it. Like, it's The Undertaker at WrestleMania. I'm going to let this go. And now it's just like, old man, sit down. Just stay down. It's kind of sad. But I guess it's always going to come back as well to the decision for him to come out and keep going. Is this his decision? Is it a business decision? And I ain't privy to any of that information, so ta-da. The long and short of it is Triple H is going to be hit next week. And we still got plenty of Raw to hit before the break. Bobby Roode, Chad Gable, new team. Is it going to be funny? Yes. Is it going to last long? Who knows?
More bodies for the division.
Let's grab 2 guys we weren't doing anything with, slap them together, and put them in the tag division.
And that leaves Jason Jordan open for potential storylines to stab his daddy in the back.
Yep.
I really hope that we get to see Angle versus Corbin as a Survivor Series match.
Yep.
And Corbin puts Jason Jordan on his team, and Jason Jordan is the one that wins it for his team.
I'm loving everything you're saying.
And that spins off towards Jason Jordan and Kurt Angle feud.
I agree. Kevin Owens, he can't stay quitted for long.
He's like every WWE fan on the internet. I'm going to quit watching WWE. I'm going to quit WWE. Back next week.
Weird circumstances though, right? Like he quits and then he comes back and just beats on some dude who has absolutely nothing to do with anything he was doing beforehand, for whatever reason.
Yeah,
and then
I gotta tell you that Bobby Lashley should not say "my man."
Oh, yep. And then probably the most confusing thing for Owens is that at the end of the night, he helps Braun Strowman beat up the Shield. And I know he was just in the Brotherhood of Heels, but we just spent like 3 months of Kevin being absolutely bullied by that big man. Common enemy, I guess.
He never did get his rematch for the Universal Championship.
True.
That could be his motivation.
The Bella Twins, they're a thing. You want to say anything else?
I'm glad I didn't see the match.
Brie Bella should retire from suicide dives. That's all I gotta say. So we're gonna go into our theme for this week. It is the New Day's theme, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be clapping with pancakes and unicorns and Bootio cereal and all the other things that they've managed to sell everybody. They're damn good marketers, aren't they?
Yeah. And happy belated birthday to Xavier Woods.
Yes, it is.
And you're back with the Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, Grady, Josh, SmackDown Now, Daniel Bryan, Cien Almas. They did it again.
Yeah. It was another good match. I I'm really looking forward to that eventual another rematch between Miz and Daniel Bryan that we know is coming eventually.
Mm-hmm.
We just got to get there.
Yep.
Because that will be one hell of a match. I think they'll really let them go all out then.
On theory, that's Super Showdown, but I don't know if Super Showdown's going to be hindered.
No. Super Showdown's the mixed tag team match.
Mixed tag is Hell in a Cell.
Then yeah, it's not going to happen at Super Show because The Miz is in a number one contender match.
That's what at Super Showdown it is The Miz versus Daniel Bryan, and the winner is the number one contender for the WWE Championship.
Yeah, and The Miz will win. He'll then win the WWE Championship down the road,
mm-hmm.
and then they'll face off again at WrestleMania for the title.
Yep, that's pretty much our 5 month out prediction that we'll keep parroting over and over. 6 month out, 7 month out. It's a lot of months out.
This is a prediction I was started saying back in June.
That's even more months out that I can't math quickly because I suck at math.
9 months out.
That's the one. And the main event, again, just continued to build towards it. If we thought the video package at SummerSlam was great, R-Truth, he found his way to the ring again. He can still go. He's got a pace unlike anybody else. And he had a match with The Miz, but at the end, it was all Daniel Bryan and Brie, Miz, Maurice.
Mm-hmm. No, I was looking at the mixed match challenge.
Yep.
Teams. They really missed an opportunity to put R-Truth and Alicia Fox together.
Well, to be fair, I think they still did pretty well with R-Truth's pairing.
Carmella?
Yeah. Based purely on the storyline they're having on SmackDown at the moment, where I think he still thinks if he pins her, he wins. I'm still not quite sure on that.
Yeah, but just imagine the crazy factor, though, for that tag team.
Instead, we'll talk about it because we got a little bit of time. Mixed match challenge. I'm going to read down the teams. Returning from last year, we got Alexa Bliss and Braun Strowman. We have Asuka and The Miz, husband-wife Lana and Rusev, husband-wife Naomi and Jimmy Uso. Then we got some new pairings, Charlotte Flair, AJ Styles. It makes sense. They're both the champions. They're pretty strong. Kayfabe, it's going to be pretty hard to beat them.
Yeah, so yeah, it's definitely looking like that could be the favorites for the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
Problem means they won't win.
Of course. We have Carmella and R-Truth. We have Sasha Banks and Bobby Lashley.
That's a weird pairing.
It is a weird pairing, but I would say it is not the weirdest because we have some weirder ones to come. Bayley, Finn Balor, I know they're pretty good mates. There's been some awesome background footagey stuff, so we'll see. That'll be good. Here's the pairings where they start to go off the wall. Alicia Fox and Jinder Mahal.
Yeah. I'm like, if you're put Alicia in there, put her with R-Truth.
I'm assuming this is the crazy and the calm.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know.
And Natalia and Kevin Owens. Unpack that one.
The Canadian connection.
Uh-huh. Now keep unpack. I guess mixed match challenges when it comes to kayfabe, so I guess a little bit easier there to just sort of put people together.
I'm guessing the reason they didn't do R-Truth and Alicia Fox because they're on different shows.
Mm-hmm.
So
fair enough. The second season will also be a round robin style tournament, so we won't see everybody's favorite team go home in 1 week and only get one match out of it.
Yeah, well, that will mean it will last longer because every team there's what 8 teams?
10 teams.
10 teams. That means every team will have to have 9 matches.
Yeah, there will be 14 half-an-hour episodes, each half-an-hour episode with 2 matches. That math probably adds up, because that's what the Wikipedia page says. Starting on September 18th, so that'll be the 19th here in New Zealand. And the finals will take place at TLC. So the finals are going to be canon, if the finals are going to take place on a pay-per-view.
It'll probably be like the pre-show to the pre-show on the Facebook
Depends who's on
it. Because I can't imagine them actually putting it on the pay-per-view itself.
Well, it'd be
especially
real
if you're going to have storylines involving, say, it's AJ and Charlotte make it to the finals.
Yeah.
Are you going to force them to defend their titles if they are still the champions?
Mm-hmm.
And then turn around and wrestle in that match as well.
It makes me think that people who aren't doing anything are going to make it to the finals, and that people like Charlotte and AJ are not going to be anywhere near it. The thing that's really interesting to me, just figuring out that that's at TLC, I know we listed that originally as one of the pay-per-views we had to stall through for this Miz Bryan stuff. So I could see Miz Asuka maybe making it to the finals. They did win it last time, and that can stall Miz maybe a little bit longer. Have Daniel Bryan come out and screw over him and Asuka, possibly. I'm interested to see where it goes. They did well. I am much more interested about this season purely because the finals will take place on the pay-per-view, and because it's a round-robin tournament. I feel better about both of those things. I think it was much better laid out than last year's. Or was it even last year's? Earlier this year's.
Yeah.
We got to jump back to SmackDown before we run entirely out of time. Peyton Royce, she lost, therefore we're not going to talk about the match. But we will talk about the Iconics versus Naomi and Asuka, which will be happening at Super Showdown.
Yeah.
The Iconics are going to win, right? 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 The Iconics are going to win, and Buddy Murphy will be the Cruiserweight Champion, and it'll all be making sense. It's 100% going to happen. Don't tell me I'm wrong.
That's happening on an Earth in some universe. Just may not be this one.
Yep. AJ Styles, Samoa Joe. How can that not be in a cell?
Because they gave it to Jeff.
I know. I'm sorry, Jeff, but can we take you out of the cell and put it this Joe Styles match? Because it deserves it much more.
Yeah, well, it's his bucket list.
But Joe Styles.
I know. It should be in there, too. In all honesty, I would probably remove Roman and Braun from the cell. And give that to AJ and Joe.
I guess with AJ and Joe, it makes a little bit sense because we already know, card subject to change, that at Super Show it will be Joe versus Styles again. So they'd be having a Hell in a Cell and then having a regular singles match afterwards. So I can sort of see why you don't want to use the Hell in a Cell. I feel like that should be more of a blow-off. That being said, Reigns and Braun not going to be having a one-on-one, but are still going to be entangled at Super Showdown. So, hey, but I can see it purely not wanting to see Styles Joe go at it in a cell and then go at it again afterwards with no stipulation. So it makes me sad, but I can see it.
Yeah. The next pay-per-view after, as far as the men go, will be what, the Survivor Series?
Yeah, I believe it is.
All right. I could see Joe and AJ ending their feud there, maybe using the cell there, or some sort of really definite this is the end type match.
Well, that would make sense because if we're getting that far, then we're getting pretty close. One of Miz and Bryan will be the number one contender at that point. Probably Miz, and so it makes sense to be finishing off Styles Joe. I don't know the full schedule. I can probably get that up. But I think after Survivor Series, I think TLC? I got it up now. It's TLC, which potentially could have The Miz being in the finals of the Mixed Match Challenge. And then it's the Rumble where we all think the title change is going to happen.
Which may lead to actually being Daniel Bryan that wins that number one contendership. But doesn't win the title because of Miz. Then Miz becomes number one contender somehow. And that all ends up with him winning the title at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. But it looks like if Joe Styles goes a little bit longer, then we won't have to stall Miz Bryan for as long. So we'll wait and see on that. We'll wait and see. Last SmackDown point as we're running out of time. Rusev Day beats the Usos and Sanity.
Okay. Only to lose to the Bar next week.
Nope, Rusev Day can win. It's going to be the New Day versus Rusev Day. And they're going to have a funny Day promo. No? You think it's going to be the Bar, don't you?
Yeah, it's going to be the Bar.
But what if I said that it's not going to be the bar. I'm not convincing you, am I?
No. The only thing I could think of is Dolph Ziggler's chance in hell.
Sorry, Rusev Day. But on that note, we run out of time and we end the show for this week. It's been great talking to you.
Bye.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/WrestlingRadio, or our Twitter page, twitter.com/WrestlingRadio. We'll see you next week.